My name is Maya Thompson. I'm from Chicago. I've lived here my whole life, long enough to know the rhythms of the city, the way its streets breathe, the way its nights feel different from its days. But nothing in all my years prepared me for the night I'm about to tell you about. It was a Thursday, late September, the kind of evening when the air starts to hold a quiet chill, hinting that summer is truly gone. I just finished work, tired but in that good way where you look forward to going home. I decided to stop by a small takeout spot Daniel and I liked. I still remember the weight of the paper bag in my hands, the faint steam rising through the folds. It was supposed to be one of those simple gestures. Show up, surprise him with dinner, maybe share a laugh, watch something mindless before bed. The city around me was alive in its usual way. People passing by in coats, the occasional rumble of a bus in the distance, that low hum of conversations from open doorways. Everything was ordinary, comfortingly ordinary. And then, in the space of a single step, that comfort was gone. I don't even know what made me glance toward that cafe. It wasn't a place Daniel and I had ever gone together, but there it was, a warm glow spilling onto the sidewalk, big glass windows revealing the world inside. And there, in the middle of that world, was him, Daniel. He was seated at a small round table, leaning forward in the way he did when he was truly listening. But it wasn't me sitting across from him. It was her. She had her hand just barely grazing his, the kind of casual touch that says more than words ever could. And he was smiling. Not just any smile, but the one that had made me fall for him in the first place. It was slow, almost shy, like he was letting someone see a piece of him he didn't show to everyone. For a moment, I didn't feel anything. Not anger, not sadness, just stillness. My heart didn't race. My breath didn't quicken. It was as if every part of me had frozen. The bag in my hands felt heavier. The sound of the city became muffled, like I was underwater. I don't know how long I stood there. Seconds? Minutes? I just know that I couldn't look away. Every little detail burned itself into my memory. The way her hair fell forward when she laughed. The way he tilted his head toward her. The way his fingers tapped the table in a rhythm I'd heard 1,000 times before when he was excited about something. And then there was the sound of my own pulse in my ears, louder than the noise of the street. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't know why he was there, why he hadn't mentioned it, why it felt so wrong in my gut. This isn't just my story. This is the truth as I lived it, the truth of what you think you know about the person you love and how quickly that certainty can be taken from you. And if you think you could see a moment like this coming, trust me, you can't. You're watching Unfaithful Chronicles. Real stories told by the people who lived them exactly as they happened. Every detail, every choice, every consequence. Stay with me, because what happened after that night is something you'll want to hear. When I first met Daniel, it felt like one of those rare accidents you don't question. You just hold on to it and hope it lasts. It was late summer, 2 years ago. We met through mutual friends at a backyard barbecue. He wasn't the loudest voice in the group, but when he spoke, you wanted to listen. There was something easy about him, a way of making people feel like they had his full attention. That night, we ended up sitting on the back steps for hours talking about everything and nothing. The conversation just never ran out. From that point on, our lives seemed to weave together naturally. No big declarations, no rushed moves, just a steady building of something that felt solid. He'd text me first thing in the morning, just a simple, "Good morning, you," and I'd find myself smiling before I was even fully awake. We cooked together a lot in those first months. I was never a great cook, but Daniel was patient, teaching me how to chop vegetables properly, laughing when I inevitably made a mess. I remember one night I burned the garlic and the whole apartment smelled like smoke. He just opened all the windows, ordered pizza, and told me, "This is better anyway." That became one of our inside jokes. Anytime dinner went wrong, we'd say it was a pizza night. There were little things, too. Notes left in my bag when I wasn't looking. A playlist he made for me called "For the Drive Home," because he knew I hated silence in the car. Saturday mornings where we'd drink coffee in bed and plan out imaginary trips we swore we'd take one day. It wasn't perfect. No relationship is. But it was ours. And I trusted him completely. I think that's why I didn't notice the changes at first. Or maybe I noticed them but didn't want to see them for what they were. It started with him working late more often. He'd call or text, apologizing, saying there was just too much to get done. Sometimes I'd offer to bring him dinner at the office, but he'd always have a reason why it wasn't a good idea. Meetings running late, paperwork piling up, deadlines to meet. It sounded believable. Then came the phone. Daniel had never been the type to hide his screen from me. We'd sit together on the couch and he'd hand me his phone if he was in the middle of something and needed to grab a drink. But lately, I noticed small shifts. The way he'd tilt it slightly away, how he'd suddenly lock it when I walked into the room. One night I saw him reading a message, and that smile, the one that used to light up for me, crept across his face. It was small, fleeting, but it was there, and it didn't feel like it belonged to me in that moment. I told myself, and for a while, I believed it. I wanted to believe it. It was a Friday night. I've been looking forward to it all week. Plans with my friend Lena. We hadn't seen each other in months, and it felt like the perfect way to shake off a long week at work. We picked a spot downtown, somewhere between her office and mine. I got there early, ordered a drink, scrolled aimlessly through my phone. 10 minutes passed. 15. Then my phone lit up. Her name on the screen. She sounded rushed, apologetic. Something came up at work. She couldn't make it. I told her not to worry, that we'd reschedule, and I meant it. But when I hung up, there was that little weight in my chest. The kind you get when your night suddenly shifts, and you're left deciding what to do with the empty space. It was still early. I wasn't ready to go home, so I started walking. Chicago at night in the fall. There's something about it. The air is crisp. The lights feel warmer somehow. The sidewalks filled with a mix of people heading home and people just beginning their night. I wandered without much thought, letting my feet choose the turns. And then I realized I was just a few blocks from Daniel's favorite cafe. He used to go there all the time on his days off. He said it had the best espresso in the city, even though I always teased him that all coffee tasted the same. I thought, maybe I'd stop in, surprise him if he was there, bring him something for later. It felt like the kind of small, thoughtful thing you do when you love someone. I turned the corner and there it was. The warm, amber glow spilling through the tall windows, the faint sound of clinking cups and quiet laughter carrying into the street. And then I saw him, Daniel, seated at a small table, the one right near the window. His posture was relaxed, his head tilted forward, his eyes fixed on the woman across from him. She wasn't anyone I knew, not a coworker I'd met, not a family member, not a friend he'd ever mentioned. She was leaning in, her hand resting lightly over his, and his hand didn't move away. He was smiling. That slow, familiar smile, the one I'd once thought was just for me. In that moment, something in me shut down. My mind didn't rush to explain it. My body didn't spring into action. It was as if the world had gone silent, except for the sound of my own pulse. The paper bag from earlier in the evening, the one I was still holding from grabbing a snack before meeting Lena, suddenly felt unbearably heavy. My fingers tightened around it until the paper crinkled. I wanted to storm in. I wanted to ask him who she was, why he was here, why he hadn't told me. I wanted to demand an answer, but I couldn't move. I just stood there, my feet locked. I noticed everything. The way she laughed, tucking her hair behind her ear, the way he leaned in closer, like what she was saying mattered more than anything else in that moment. The way his thumb traced the edge of her hand, a small, almost imperceptible movement that said more than words ever could. It wasn't just the image of them together that froze me. It was the certainty that, whatever this was, it had already crossed a line. And standing there, on that sidewalk, watching from the other side of the glass, I realized something I hadn't wanted to believe. The man I trusted, the man I thought I knew better than anyone, was capable of making me feel like a stranger to my own life. I don't remember turning away from the cafe. I just remember that my legs felt heavy, like each step was something I had to will into existence. The streetlights seemed dimmer. The chatter of people passing me sounded distant, like they were speaking from somewhere far away. All I could see was that image. Daniel, leaning toward her, her hand on his, the kind of closeness you don't mistake for something casual. I told myself it could be innocent. Maybe she was a coworker. Maybe he was helping her through something. Maybe this was all nothing. But every time I tried to build that possibility in my head, it collapsed under the weight of the details. His smile, her touch, the way his body language softened in a way I hadn't seen with me in weeks. By the time I got home, I'd already replayed the scene a dozen times in my mind. I sat on the couch in the dark, still wearing my coat, the bag of food untouched beside me. My phone was in my hand before I even thought about it. I went to his social media first, scrolled back through his recent posts, mostly work-related things. Pictures of the city, the occasional photo of us from weeks, even months ago. But then I saw it, a picture tagged at that same cafe. Just him and a cappuccino in the frame. But the date, it was a week ago. A time I remembered clearly because he'd told me he was swamped at the office. I started clicking deeper. Friends pages, tagged photos, comment threads. And then I saw her name. Not under that cafe photo, but in the comments of another picture he'd posted 2 weeks back. A simple, playful reply from him to something she'd said. Innocent enough on the surface, but now, every word felt different. I scrolled until my eyes burned. Then I put my phone down and tried to think. I tried to recall every night he'd been working late, every text saying he was tied up. I played them back in my mind, searching for gaps, inconsistencies. There were a few, small things I'd brushed off before, moments that now stood out like flashing signs. Part of me wanted to pick up the phone right then and call him, demand an explanation. But another part, the bigger part, told me to wait, to be sure, to gather proof. That night, I opened the Notes app on my phone and started typing everything I remembered. Dates, times, little things he'd said. I even recorded a voice memo to myself, whispering into the dark so I wouldn't forget the way I felt in that moment. My voice sounded strange, tight, measured, almost like I was talking about someone else's life. The truth was, I didn't know if I was building a case or protecting myself from what I already knew. All I did know was that the Maya who believed without question. I decided not to confront him right away. I wanted time to think, to gather myself. But the more days passed, the more the questions pressed against my chest, stealing my sleep and my appetite. By the 5th day, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I texted him in the afternoon. "Dinner at my place tonight?" Just that. No emojis, no hearts. He replied almost instantly, "Sure, what time?" I spent hours pacing the apartment. I didn't bother lighting candles or setting the table the way I used to when I wanted the evening to feel special. I cooked, but without care, going through the motions, stirring when I remembered, tasting nothing. When he walked in, he smiled at me, but there was something tentative in it, like he wasn't sure of my mood. He kissed my cheek, asked how my day was. I said fine in that clipped way that only sounds fine if you're not listening closely. We sat down, the food between us. I watched him eat, his fork clinking against the plate. I asked about work. He said it was busy. I asked about his family. He gave short answers. It was almost normal. Almost. Then I set my fork down. My hands were folded in front of me, steady even though my heartbeat wasn't. "Who is she?" At first, he didn't look up. It was as if the words didn't register. When they did, he froze mid-bite. His eyes lifted to mine, searching. "What do you mean?" he asked. His voice was careful, like someone trying not to set off an alarm. I didn't break eye contact. "The woman at the cafe, who is she?" There was a beat of silence, so heavy I could hear the hum of the refrigerator in the other room. Then he exhaled, set his fork down slowly. "She's just a friend from college. We ran into each other a while back. We were catching up." Just a friend. The oldest line in the book. I almost laughed, but there was nothing funny in it. "And you hold hands with all your friends while catching up?" I asked. My voice was calm, but there was a weight in it. His jaw tightened. "It wasn't like that. It looked exactly like that," I said. Another pause. His eyes dropped to the table. I could see the shift, the moment he realized I wasn't going to let it go. Finally, he said, "We've been texting for a few weeks, that's all." "Texting about what?" "Just stuff, life, things we've been up to." "And you didn't think to mention that to me?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "Because I knew you'd get the wrong idea." I leaned back in my chair. The wrong idea or the right one? He swallowed hard, shook his head. "Maya, nothing happened. I swear." I felt my lips pressed together, holding back everything. He looked at me, and in his eyes I saw a flicker of guilt, maybe even regret. But I also saw something else, the quiet acknowledgement that trust, once cracked, is never quite the same. He must have felt the silence stretching between us, because after a while he leaned forward, his elbows on the table, his voice low in that way he used when he wanted me to believe him. "Maya, I still love you," he said. "This," he gestured vaguely, like he could wave the whole situation away. "It was just a moment of weakness, that's all." A moment of weakness. I sat there, staring at him, letting the words settle. Weakness wasn't forgetting to take out the trash. Weakness wasn't burning dinner or missing a text. Weakness was a choice. A decision he'd made, step by step, moment by moment, until it brought him to that cafe table with her. He kept talking about how it didn't mean anything, about how it was a stupid mistake, about how he'd end it right now, tonight, if that's what I wanted. But all I could hear was the echo of my own thoughts. Trust is like glass. When it's whole, it's strong. It can hold weight. It can survive storms. But the second it cracks, no matter how carefully you try to piece it back together, the lines are always there. You can pretend you don't see them, but you feel them every time you touch it. I realized in that moment that the part of me that had stood outside that cafe, frozen, unable to move, was still there. She hadn't gone away just because he'd given me an explanation. I told him I needed space. His face fell, and for a second I almost softened. Almost. But then I remembered the weight of that paper bag in my hands that night. How the air had felt colder than it should have. How the world had gone quiet except for the sound of my own pulse. I don't know what this means yet, I said. I just know I can't decide while you're sitting here telling me everything will go back to normal. Because it won't. Not for me. Not right now. He nodded slowly, like he knew there was no point pushing. He gathered his things, pausing at the door, as if there was something else he wanted to say. But he didn't. He just left. And when the door closed, the apartment felt bigger and smaller all at once. Empty in a way it hadn't been before, but heavy with everything that had been said and everything that hadn't. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the city outside, and wondered how you're supposed to. I went days without calling him, without answering his texts. Some mornings I'd wake up with my phone in my hand, thumb hovering over his name, ready to break the silence. But I didn't. Other mornings I didn't even look at my phone until noon, afraid that whatever he'd sent would pull me back into a place I wasn't ready to return to. On the fourth night, I decided to go for a walk. No destination, just me, the city, and the sound of my own footsteps. Chicago at night feels different when you're alone. The lights are the same, the streets are the same, but you notice details you'd miss if you were distracted. The faint hum of neon signs, the smell of someone's dinner drifting out from an open window, the way strangers' voices blend into a low current of sound. I walked without thinking about where I was going. My mind kept circling back to that night outside the cafe, the reflection of the city lights on the glass, the way his smile looked when it wasn't meant for me, the sharp stillness that took over my body. Maybe I froze that day because I didn't know what to do, because standing still felt safer than moving towards something that might hurt. But now I know I can't stay frozen. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what happens next. But I know this. Moving forward isn't about forgetting what I saw. It's about choosing to walk, even with the memory still behind me. When I got back to my apartment, I set my phone down on the table. I didn't check it. I didn't need to. Then I picked up my coat again, stepped outside, and let the city lights swallow me. The night air felt sharp and alive, and for the first time in a long time, every step I took was mine.